What's up guys, my name is Edmond here and welcome to Eddy's Reviews, where we do reviews of action, adventure, sci-fi, and animation movies. So if this kind of content interests you, please consider subscribing. Stick around, let's get right into the video. So today is Adventure Day and we are going to be talking about Jungle Cruise. The director of this movie is Jaume and the main character of this movie is Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, who acted the character of Frank. Dr. Lily asks for the aid of wisecracking skipper Frank to take her down the Amazon in his dilapidated boat. So together they go down this Amazon in search for an ancient tree that holds the mysterious power of healing. This is a discovery that could change the future of medicine. So today I'm going to be doing a spoiler review of this movie, which means I'm going to be talking about every little thing which is involved in this movie as the movie goes by. So in Jungle Cruise, one of the main things which we are supposed to be talking about, which is this tree, is called the Tears of the Moon. And this tree is so mysterious because it has some purplish kind of petals which can cure every disease as well as it can break every curse. So the first part about this movie is a part which is trying to give out this history about how this tree came about, whatsoever this tree has done, as in its healing power and what it has been doing, who owns access to this tree, or what you need to gain access to this tree. So basically that is what the beginning or the opening scene about this movie lets us to know about this tree. So after this scene, the next thing which we see is Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, who his coming was kind of teased. Like, you know, you can hear his voice in the background, you hear him talking, but they were kind of not showing his face. So they wanted us to listen, or they wanted us to expect to see him. And when they showed him, you know, this movie is that kind of the 90s kind of movie, old movie, and he was dressed in this kind of some kind of rags or some kind of very dirty clothes because he was kind of leading people on a cruise in the jungle, trying to show them all the wonders which the jungle has and all its mysteries and so on and so forth, with some of the people who he had collaborations with in the jungle. So this next part of the movie was kind of showing us Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, some kind of funny aspects about him, because he was someone who, as he was showing this his customers, because he leads people into the jungle with his boat. So as he was showing his customers around the jungle, he was kind of cracking some kind of jokes which these people were not really finding that interesting. And it was kind of an interesting scene all in general, till when he landed now on Dr. Lily, who was on an adventure to find this Tears of the Moon, which is this tree which has this mysterious petal, because she is a doctor and she wants to get these petals so as to change the life of the entire world with its crazy healing power. So this is when the real adventure of this movie begins, and the adventure to get to these Tears of the Moon were done by two parties. The good side, who wanted to use these petals for good to help people, as well as the bad side, who wanted to use this petal for war and to kill people. So the good side was headed by Dr. Lily and her kid brother, who was transported by the skipper Frank, who was Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, in his dilapidated boat. And the bad side of it was the Prince of Germany, who wanted to use this for his men while they are fighting war. So these are the two sides who were going to these rivers or going to this jungle on this cruise so as to get to these Tears of the Moon to harvest these petals for their own aim. Now let's talk a little bit about the bad side of this journey, because it was headed by the Prince of Germany. So as he was heading for these Tears of the Moon, he actually never had any clue where particular this Tears of the Moon was. So he needed aid to get to this place, and he was using this kind of a submarine which was really ancient. You know, in ancient movies you find this submarine which has some kind of a compass or has some kind of a view which it pops out of the water. So it had a lot of ancient things. Even the artifacts or whatsoever was in this submarine was ancient, and so he needed aid to get to these Tears of the Moon. And where he headed to was a place which had some 4 guys who had been cursed. So these guys had been cursed and their bodies were being fed on by the jungle. So he headed to this place and he revived them back to life, and he promised them that if they can lead him to where this tears of the moon is, he's going to give them whatsoever they want, or he's going to give them a petal which is going to uplift their curse. So as he released them, these 4 guys had some different, or they had some kind of powers which they had. One of them was a guy who was kind of snake, like he was just made up of snakes everywhere all around him. Another guy was like a beehive because he was hosting bees all around him. And another guy was some kind of a muddy guy who was kind of made of frogs. So whenever you see him in a movie, you hear the sounds of frogs all around him. And the 4th guy was the guy who was kind of like roots or the stems or vines of trees. So whenever he's coming, you just find trees or the vines or the stems of trees rolling or crawling around. So these were the 4 people who this Prince of Germany, he revived them so that they can lead him to where he could find these tears of the moon. Now let's talk about the good side of this journey. So as Dr. Lily and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson were cruising through the jungle, Frank realized, or Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, he realized that this lady, Dr. Lily, she actually had an arrowhead. And what was this arrowhead? An arrowhead in this movie was something that was going to lead them to these tears of the moon, which was this special tree. So as he realized this, he actually planned with some of his guys who he had in the jungle, who were some kind of cannibals, so they were human hunters. He planned with them so that they could capture them all, then he could use some kind of trick so as to get this arrowhead from this lady. So as they captured him and the other people, they took them to this place wheresoever they were, and they were playing some kind of drums. You know, this kind of scenes where you already know that you are going to die, they are going to kill you, they are going to feast on you. So that is what was happening in this scene. And Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, he knew their language because he was in collaboration with them. So he started speaking in their language, and he was translating it to Dr. Lily and telling her that what they want is the arrowhead and all of their clothes and so on, so that they can go, so that he could take it from them. But just because Dr. Lily was so determined, they were unable to take this from her before they revealed themselves, telling her that they were worked for Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. So as they were getting to do all of these and they revealing themselves and letting Dr. Lily know a little bit more about what this arrowstone is and the road leading to these tears of the moon, they were attacked by these 4 guys who I just talked about, who were cursed. So they came along because they wanted to also get this arrowhead, and they had located them where they were. So they came, they fought, they destroyed places, but at the end of it all, they were unable to get this arrowhead from Dr. Lily. And it was at this particular point where Dr. Lily actually knew who Frank was, because he actually kind of died, but he came back, and that is when he actually narrated the entire story, how he was and whatsoever was leading him towards this the tree, this special tree, and also how he was cursed, and also how these other 4 guys were cursed. So this is when she got to know the reality of who Frank is, and the fact that he has stayed for over 400 years and he has been dying, or he has not been able to die because he gets back up whenever he dies. Getting now closer to the ending scenes of this movie is where the good side of this journey, they found the location where this mysterious tree was. And as they were going down the path to get into this, they also realized that the bad guys, who was the Prince of Germany, he had also found this location. So when he met them, he just marginalized everything, and he actually gave them conditions so he could lead them, because he had an army of people who could kill them immediately at that particular point. So he marginalized this, and he told them that he is going to give them just a single petal if they could lead him towards the path of these tears of the moon, or they could as well use the arrowhead in opening it. So as they reached there, they used the arrowhead, they figured it out, because it was kind of a little bit of hidden stuff which not everyone could do. So they tried to figure it out, and when they did, they revived this tree back to life, and it blossomed with its petals. But now the only thing was, this tree could bring out its petals only in the night, or when there was a full moon. So when this moon came up, and as the moon was going down, the petals in this tree were dying down, and that is when Dr. Lily, she jumped on the stems, and she was able to grab just one petal. And as these guys were like fighting for this petal, as the Prince of Germany was fighting to get this petal, he was unable to do this, and Dr. Lily successfully got this petal. And what happened was, these other 4 guys who were cursed, they also came to this particular scene, and they as well were fighting to get these petals so as to cure themselves from this curse, or to relieve themselves from this curse. So as they were all trying to do this, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, he sacrificed his life so as to get all these 4 guys trapped to the jungle again. So he successfully crashed his boat and made all of them to be stuck on this wall where they were fed on by the jungle. So as he did this, Dr. Lily now, because of the fact that she started growing some kind of affection for him, she used this one petal which she had, and she cured, or she relieved Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson from his curse. And as he came back to life, the tree blessed them again with another petal. So this is when they grabbed this petal and they went back to England, and this was literally the final scenes of the movie, where Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson was free from his curse, and he lived his life now together with Dr. Lily, as well as she took this invention and she changed the life of the people in England. So this was an English movie, and this was a very interesting, adventurous movie because they were all headed to one place, and we got the satisfaction because the good people, they actually won this battle at the end of it. And this movie was very nice because it was this kind of an old vibe, you know, this 90s kind of movie, and they actually did everything well because the props which were found in this movie, that is like the phones which they use, the cameras which they use, you understand, like everything, even the submarine, everything which they made or used in this movie was that kind of old stuff to really make it look like it's a movie that was brought from the old. Even this boat, I mean, everything was made in the old way. You even find the ground muddy, and you know, so everything literally around was really brought together and made to have this old vintage kind of vibe, and it was all well put together. And as well as maybe the background sounds which were playing in some particular scenes blended in so well, and it was just a very amazing movie overall to watch. So if you have watched this movie, please let me know what you think about it in the comment section down below. As well as if you have not watched this movie, I have already dropped it in my Telegram channel, which I'm going to link in the description. So this is all I have for you guys today. If you love what you've seen and you long to see more, please let me know in the comment section down below. And this movie is a very, very big recommendation for you. As well as don't forget to check out the cards here to get to the previous video which I made. And as well, don't forget to subscribe, destroy the like button, and on that note, catch you guys in the next one.